Tonight, 8 seconds from disaster, heroes pull 2 men from their car stuck on train tracks in Melbourne's north. The Good Friday appeal back to its best. Millions raised for the Royal Children's Hospital as Victorians give generously. Qantas admits luggage was deliberately left behind as passengers took off from Melbourne Airport. The death of Australian golf legend Jack Newton, aged 72. And Mornington Peninsula, the most popular place to live, but have prices peaked?
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Rebecca Maddern.
Good evening. 2 men were seconds from disaster when their car crashed onto train tracks in Melbourne's north. Onlookers came to the rescue, managing to free the driver and passenger just in time.
A car stuck on the rail line, people waving frantically at an oncoming train. But the driver had no chance to stop in time, crushing the vehicle and dragging it down the tracks.
Wow. Big smash. It was like out of a bloody movie. It's like watching, on set on a movie. I couldn't believe it.
Moments earlier, Reg and Huss leapt into action after seeing the car crash on the tracks at Meadow Heights late yesterday. They ran to help, plucking the unconscious driver and his elderly father out of harm's way with just 8 seconds to spare.
We gave him a hand, we pulled the man out of the car, put him to safety.
And as soon as we tried taking him out, then he came to himself a bit.
2 off-duty nurses stepped in to assess the pair before emergency services arrived.
It's amazing because, it literally made my day because, no one got killed, so I was so happy about it.
The driver suffered a medical episode at the moment he careered off the road and onto the Craigieburn line. Witnesses say it is a miracle no one was injured. The driver was taken to the Royal Melbourne Hospital in a stable condition for a checkup. And the brave men who rescued them, they say anyone would have done the same.
If it wasn't us, it would have been someone else.
Sarah Jones, 7 News.
Now to the Good Friday appeal, and more than $10 million has already been raised for the Royal Children's Hospital. Donations have been pouring in over the phones, in tins and through a record-breaking home auction.
The iconic sound of the Good Friday appeal. Volunteers bouncing from vehicle to vehicle.
Thank you, happy Easter.
Victorians digging deep.
We've had lots of notes, so more notes than I've ever seen, which is really good.
All with their own reason for donating.
We're raising money for the children in the hospital that they can have some dreams come true.
My son, who was 8 years old back in 1988, spent 2 years at the Children's Hospital and unfortunately he lost his fight.
This year, QR codes were available for people without spare change, while travellers without breakfast were treated to an Easter feast thanks to the airport firefighters.
To give them a hot cross bun or a sausage in return for a small donation.
More than 100,000 volunteers across the state taking small donations as well as the big ones.
$200,000.
$1,112. $1,052,225.43.
All generous, all going to improve the treatment, education and research at the Royal Children's Hospital.
This year particularly we're supporting telehealth, which is really exciting. I think, obviously during COVID telehealth has grown.
A record under the hammer. The charity home in Sunbury sold for $1.082 million.
The Victorian Government will provide a further $2 million to make sure that our kids get everything they need.
The face of this year's appeal, Isla McGann, leading the way on the footy field today. Also visiting the Teddy Bears Hospital.
Please help us because we want to help all the people in the hospital.
Here, furry friends can get a checkup.
Brings the fun into it a little bit, I think. Makes them not scared to go in.
The Kids' Day Out is back in full swing with more than 50,000 people coming to the doors here today, giving everyone a reason to smile. Dancing, bouncing, sliding, doing it for the kids that can't. Tegan Dolling, 7 News.
Qantas has admitted it chose to leave baggage behind to avoid delays for flights out of Melbourne. Tonight, some passengers are still waiting for luggage to be returned as the travel chaos finally eased at Melbourne Airport.
Good Friday, but little good news for some travelling lighter than expected. Staff shortages led to a number of Qantas flights taking off yesterday without luggage.
It was left in Melbourne, unfortunately.
Decisions were made to have these flights depart without baggage to ensure that customers could get to their destination and not face long flight delays or cancellation. The news broke while passengers were in the air and at interstate baggage carousels.
They've said that they don't know how long it's going to take, and that I'm up for $180 compensation if it doesn't return in 3 days.
To catch up, Qantas operated a Melbourne to Sydney flight this afternoon just with luggage on board.
I spent the week without anything effectively. Come back and I'm still trying to find my bag, so no one at Qantas can tell me.
Qantas and Jetstar say up to 50% of staff in some areas are unable to work due to COVID. In an effort to address the shortage, Qantas is moving head office staff to airports. The company says the number of employees who've put up their hand to help has doubled this week to more than 200. After the chaos this week, Melbourne Airport was running more smoothly today, with 85,000 passengers passing through.
People are trying to help us get to where we need to be, and our kids are thankfully being patient.
Well, I haven't seen the airports this busy in a while, so it's been nice to see a lot of people going back out to their families again.
Emma O'Sullivan, 7 News.
A pedestrian's been hit and killed by a motorbike in Elwood. The 32-year-old Balaclava man was struck on Brighton Road just before midnight.
I just hear the sound of the crash of the motorcycle, and then I hear a guy screaming loudly.
The 19-year-old motorcyclist was taken to hospital with serious injuries. Police are working out how it happened. A man's body has been discovered in the water off St Kilda Beach. The man was seen going into the bay but didn't come out just before midnight. A search by Water Police and the Air Wing found the body an hour later. Police say his death is not suspicious. Anthony Albanese has made another blunder, with a senior member of the Labor Party forced to correct a multi-million-dollar mistake in his costings. Today was meant to provide a campaign ceasefire, with both leaders attending Good Friday services.
Some good news on Good Friday.
What colour do you think I should colour in the Bears' shirt? Blue. Okay, I like blue.
Scott Morrison drops in to the Royal Children's Hospital appeal in Melbourne, pledging $2 million to help Victoria's sickest kids.
Let's put Monkey in. There we go.
The first ever donation to the event from the federal government.
Thank you all these guys.
Yeah, all our marvellous volunteers.
The Prime Minister also thankful that his police officers involved in yesterday's serious crash in Tasmania are recovering.
Well, I've been able to speak to both of the officers today, and one has been discharged and another is still in hospital.
The Prime Minister and Labor leader have today agreed to a campaign truce, putting the gloves down as they attend church services in Melbourne and Sydney to commemorate Good Friday. But the ceasefire quickly ended, with Anthony Albanese being forced to backtrack, his third in 5 days, this time over his signature policy to build Medicare emergency clinics.
They were informed by PBA costing.
Informed, but not fully costed, according to his finance spokeswoman, despite this Labor ad.
It's my fully costed plan for a better future.
The policy is fully costed and it's informed by work that was done by the PBA. Thanks very much. Thanks.
At the Sindel Baptist Church in Melbourne with Chisholm MP Gladys Liu, Scott Morrison offers blessings to a young family.
God bless you, and God bless you too.
Anthony Albanese greets the Prime Minister's wife as he prays for a speedy campaign recovery. Jennifer Beshwati, 7 News.
Australian golf legend Jack Newton has died after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. He's remembered for being a fearless competitor on the course before his career ended in 1983 after an accident with a plane propeller.
A life lived large hit a crescendo in 2016. Jack Newton invited to the Hall of Fame. On a stage that featured so many of golf's greatest ever, Newton shone, twice second in majors, only beaten by giants Tom Watson and Seve Ballesteros.
One of the best in the world at the time.
Jack could flat out play.
Through the 70s and early 80s, he was a great player. He was a world player.
In '79, he won his National Open, perhaps his proudest golfing moment.
That's a great effort. He's done it again.
Life was good.
As a young bloke, I just thought, this bloke's magic, you know. Where'd he come from? You know, he just loves life.
A life that came desperately close to being snuffed out in 1983. Jack, hit by a plane propeller in Sydney. He lost his right arm and eye.
I missed my brain by, I was told, about 3/8 of an inch.
We're happy he's alive. It's a miracle.
Far from wallow in self-pity, a reborn Jack Newton emerged, playing one-armed, hosting a wildly successful celebrity classic, raising millions for junior golf, with Bob Hawke as his patron.
He's one of those people that gave so much of himself.
For 23 years, during the halcyon days of Norman, Grady, Baker Finch, he was Channel 7's golf analyst, opinionated as ever.
It's going to be pretty hard. He's going to fall off his wallet here shortly.
From today's family statement, Dad was a fearless competitor and iconic Australian, blazing a formidable trail. He leaves Jackie, children Christy and Clint, 6 grandkids, and a legacy we may never plumb.
He's such a big character and such a great guy. It's very, very sad.
Pat Welch, 7 News.
Good Friday is regarded as one of the most important days on the Christian calendar. Worshippers gathered in churches across the city to remember the death of Jesus Christ.
The church was full and it was just so uplifting to see that the community is coming back together again and we're going back to some normality.
Worshippers of all denominations enjoyed singing at Easter services without a mask mandate. Churchgoers prayed for peace and an end to the war in Ukraine. House prices on the Mornington Peninsula have reached new heights. Up next, the suburbs seeing the biggest rises, but what's in store for the rest of the year? Also, the controversial East-West link back on the agenda. And Harry and Meghan's surprise visit to Windsor Castle. Property prices in regional Victoria are soaring, with the latest data showing huge growth in coastal suburbs. Rye is leading the way, the average home now worth $500,000 more than it was this time last year.
Not long ago, beachside suburbs along the Mornington Peninsula were full of holiday rentals. Now they're increasingly becoming family homes.
I think COVID's just made everyone have a little bit of a rethink around what's important to them.
The family orientation, the beach, the people, the shops.
The latest report from the REIV shows homes in outer Melbourne are on average 16% more expensive than they were a year ago. 27% more in regional Victoria.
Victorians have a love affair with regional and coastal, so it's always going to bump. We've seen bigger bumps this year because people can actually start to move out.
Rye had the biggest jump, increasing almost 50% in a year. The median home now $1.2 million. Mount Martha was next, increasing 34% to $1.87, followed by Rosebud, up 32%.
It's just becoming ridiculous. The market's increased dramatically.
Annual increases are strong across the board, but that growth slowed right down in the last quarter. Here in regional Victoria, homes went up just 4%. Closer to the city, they dropped. Houses were down 0.3% in metropolitan Melbourne, units and apartments down 0.9%. Hardly surprising when you can have this as your backyard without uprooting your career.
My kids go surfing on weekends, get to go fishing quite often. So really for us it's being close to the water.
Christy Cooper, 7 News.
A Russian warship has sunk in the Black Sea in a massive blow to Moscow 50 days into the Ukraine invasion. Ukraine has claimed responsibility, saying it hit the cruiser with its own Neptune anti-ship missile, which has a range of 300 kilometres. It's the biggest Russian warship lost in action since the Second World War. Around 500 crew were evacuated in time. Harry and Meghan have made a surprise visit to see the Queen for the first time in 2 years. The couple arrived in the UK in secret and also saw Prince Charles on their trip to Windsor Castle. Charles stepped in for the Queen at the traditional Maundy service as the 95-year-old monarch battles mobility issues. The world's richest person, Elon Musk, wants to buy Twitter. His offer values the social media company at $58 billion. The Tesla boss wants Twitter transformed into a private company to be a successful platform for free speech. The Twitter board is considering his request. The Victorian Liberal Party has promised to build the East-West link if elected in November. The Andrews government scrapped the project 7 years ago, costing taxpayers $1.3 billion.
Given that this is a road that Infrastructure Australia continues to say is really vital, it's so important that we build it.
The opposition says stage 1 would take 4 years to build using mostly private and federal funding. Well, it has been another Good Friday feast for the Bulldogs. Tim Watson, they've regained some form, haven't they?
They have, Beck, in a big way too. A comprehensive win for the Dogs, who've shaken off their goal-kicking woes, including an opening term blitz from a sharpshooter to help or heap more pain on the rebuilding Roos. Plus an Easter headache for the D's as an All-Australian trains away from the group. And Tyler Wright leads the Aussies into the finals at Bells Beach. Welcome back. A dominant Western Bulldogs have kicked their way to a 68-point win over North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. A blistering 8-goal first quarter set the tone. Aaron Norton and Cody Waitman ended with 5 goals apiece on another disappointing Good Friday for the Roos.
The warning signs were deafening for North, the Bulldogs eyeing off another Good Friday feast.
Waitman on the left for the first goal, got it.
Marcus Bontempelli with an instant impact starting as a permanent forward. Aaron Norton was soaring. Cody Waitman had 4 of the Dogs' 8 first quarter goals, and the writing was on the wall.
Well, this is bordering on embarrassing now for the Kangaroos.
A shake of the head from David Noble was followed by some stern words at quarter time, and the North captain responded.
And that's absolutely magnificent.
A 51-point margin halved in the space of just 10 minutes.
They've got 4 in a row, the Kangas.
The Roos bounced back off the canvas, scrapping their way back to within striking distance, although they would lose Aaron Hall to what looks a serious hamstring injury on the stroke of half-time. Tom Liberatore gave number 1 draft pick Jason Horne-Francis a word as the Dogs reasserted their dominance.
And squeezes a goal! Brilliant!
And there would be no final quarter twist as Norton snapped his 4th. The Dogs just too classy.
Yeah, Hunter ground level. Dogs got another one.
Enough time for one more Norton high fly, and not even some calf cramping could stop him from bagging a 5th. The Dogs banking win number 2 for the year. Another day of contemplation for the rebuilding Roos. Andrew McCormack, 7 News.
And Aaron Norton has revealed how the Dogs have improved their goal-kicking woes. Live now to Mitch Cleary at Marvel Stadium. And Mitch, it was quite the turnaround from last week.
Well, Tim, the Dogs' goal-kicking was a major talking point during the week. Norton kicking a bag along with Cody Waitman. The spearhead detailing the work they did this week in front of the big sticks.
We just probably weren't executing right in the early rounds, and not much really changed. Probably a little bit more focus on putting a bit more effort into the kicks and making sure it's more game-like. But yeah, it was nice tonight to be able to convert well.
Tim, in teams, Michael Voss has swung the axe after last week's loss. Tom de Koning and Lockie Plowman among 5 dropped. Midfielder Ben Hobbs to debut for Essendon. Chad Wingard out of Hawthorn's Easter Monday side. While there is some concern over Patrick Dangerfield, who trained away from the main group with strapping on his lower leg. Brisbane's Darcy Gardner has escaped with a $2,000 fine for a late bump on Josh Dacos in the Lions' win last night. Magpie Mason Cox also handed a $2,000 fine for his knee on Lion Brandon Starcevic. At the D's, Christian Petrarca has shrugged off any injury fear, but Stephen May was training off legs away from teammates today as the Easter Bunny dropped in to deliver some Easter spirit. And just finally, at St Kilda, Bradley Hill trains fully today. No concerns over that ankle injury. Tim?
Thanks, Mitch. Carlton expects Patrick Cripps will only be sidelined for 1 week with a hamstring injury. The Blues captain is already back running after being subbed out in the loss against the Suns.
We were hopeful that it was going to be so minor that we might be able to get him up for this week. He overstretched for a ball. It sort of got a little bit tight in that area. Certainly no major damage was there, so that gives him a chance for next week.
Matthew Kennedy had his right quad heavily strapped at the Blues main session today. Mick Fanning's fairy tale run at Bells Beach has come to an end. The 40-year-old wildcard eliminated by Aussie Tour rookie Callum Robson on the final wave of their round of 16 heat.
It's been a really different Bells for me. I've really enjoyed it, and yeah, the support from everyone's been great, and yeah, it's great memories.
Aussies Ethan Ewing, Jack Robinson and Owen Wright progressed to the quarterfinals. Tyler Wright is the only local into the women's semis, with Sally Fitzgibbons and Steph Gilmore knocked out. Joe Root has stood down as England cricket captain. The 31-year-old was under pressure after a summer of poor results, including the 4-0 Ashes thrashing here in Australia. Root says it's taken a toll. The England Cricket Board is yet to appoint a successor. Tough job, that one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look, some people will be happy about this, some people won't, but it could have been worse without Joe Root there, to be honest.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Could have been a lot worse, although it's hard to imagine how it could have been much worse.
That's true. Thank you very much, Tim. Well, after the break, Melbourne's Easter weekend forecast. Cloudy day in Melbourne today. After a mild morning, it climbed to reach a top of 26 degrees. At the moment, we are sitting on 20 degrees. On the satellite, a band of clouds is over the southeast, associated with a fast-moving cold front. A cold front will enter Western Victoria late on Sunday and move slowly across the state on Monday and Tuesday. So around the country tomorrow, Sydney, mostly sunny with a top of 24, Canberra, 23 degrees, Brisbane, 26, a warm 30 degrees in Adelaide, and Perth is looking good, sunny and 25. Across Victoria tomorrow, a mostly sunny day and warm, tending hot in the northwest of the state. Closer in, it will be a wonderful Easter Saturday tomorrow. Aren't we lucky? Take a look at that. Frankston and Yarra Glen should hit 27 degrees. So too Scoresby and Point Cook, as well as Geelong with a top of 27 degrees and nice sunshine there. In Melbourne tomorrow, it will be the pick of the days across the weekend. Sunny with a low of 13 degrees, and we are heading for a sunny top of 27 degrees. So taking a look further ahead, Easter Sunday will be mostly sunny, but there is the chance of showers in the evening, a top of 27. Then the showers come on Monday, up to 20 millimetres, and it's only a top of 19. The chance of showers continuing throughout the rest of the week. And that is 7 News. Make sure you stay on 7 as we head back to the Royal Children's Hospital Good Friday appeal. For now, good night.